There we go. So it looks like we are live. Give me just 1 second, everybody. Hi, I'm Kat, owner of KatsCreationsNMore, and today we're gonna do my iconic bow following my bow recipe. So I have shared my bow recipe with so many of you, and so this is going to be a tutorial dedicated just to that, following along the recipe to turn out a gorgeous, beautiful bow. So let me make sure that we are all the things. So let me refresh everything, because when you first go live, it takes you just a little bit to make sure that everything is functioning. Okay, so we are live on the YouTube side. Let's refresh Facebook and just verify we're live there. It's always good to double check so you don't have to like restart all over again. So we are live in both. So hi and happy, what is today? Tuesday. July the 15th, I think. Yeah, July the 15th. So this is part 4 in the bow making series. So if you have not had the opportunity to go back and watch all of these, I walk you through all the things in bow makers, how to make a hand-tied bow without having any bow maker at all. It's super simple techniques that you can use to create a bow until you're ready to master what I call the beginning, the middle, and the advanced bow making techniques. And so the next 2 videos, so the next 2 Tuesdays will be, next week we're doing the easy bow maker, which is great for once you've got the whole bow making thing established. Although there are a lot of people who start with the easy bow maker. The Bowdabra, however, is considered your entry-level bow maker. It is the least expensive of the 3. And it serves multiple purposes. It's also great for storage. So we're going to start with that today, making my iconic bow following my bow recipe. And just like any recipe, you can substitute and still turn out a really great bow. So I'm going to pivot you down. We're going to go ahead and get started. A couple housekeeping items will be, let's see, I want to make sure that we are squared on our thing. Here is our Bowdabra. Wow. I'm like, I have cords everywhere. It's crazy. And so when I very first started my bow recipe, this is exactly what it looks like for those of you. I'm going to zoom in. So some of you will want to probably, capture this. Or if you go to my website, which I'm going to type in right now, KatsCreationsNMore.com, go about halfway down the page, and you can sign up for my email newsletter, and I will send you the bow recipe on a cute recipe card, as well as a video that'll go hand in hand along with this tutorial. So hi June, hi Valerie, hi Linda, welcome, hi Tonya. Okay. So this is what we're doing, housekeeping items. If you want to save a copy of this tutorial and you're on YouTube, click the save button. If you are on Facebook, click the share button. Just remember, Facebook is only allowing videos to stay on the page for 30 days and then they're deleted. So once you do the share, it's a copy paste from my page to yours. Just make sure that you download it. Otherwise you need to come back to my YouTube page and download it there. Also, if you want to get notified so that you don't miss out on any of the tutorials and videos that I put together, if you're on YouTube, subscribe to my channel, click the subscription bell. If you are on Facebook, you want to make sure that you have clicked the follow button on my page, or the like button. I think it's like that is found. Follow is kind of hidden, but it is under the 3 little ellipses. I had it and then it just disappeared. It's under the 3 little ellipses, and it'll give you a really small little window, and just make sure your turn live notifications are on. You need to do that for every single page, every single person you follow that you want to be notified on Facebook. They just kind of complicate it. So looking at the bow recipe, using our Bowdabra, you will need 2.5-inch ribbons and 4.5-inch ribbons. That is your basic formula. It's a 6-ribbon bow. It will yield an 11-inch, based on loop size, diameter bow, which for me is perfect for a 22 to 26-inch wreath. These are the steps. So like any good recipe, you have your ingredients, but you can substitute. For example, if this was chocolate chips, you could substitute it with peanut butter chips or caramel chips. If you were going with a healthier option, you might choose some different ingredients over, whatever the recipe calls for, but it's still going to yield the same product. Same theory here. So like I said, we're going to be following this step by step using the Bowdabra. So it comes with this little device here, which is just to compress and compact your ribbon. We are making some Halloween bows for some upcoming projects. And so the first thing on our recipe is 2.5-inch bows or ribbons. So these are the 2.5 that I have picked. I have picked this orange with the typical Halloween colors, which is black, orange, green, and purple. And then we're going to do a really super cute black and purple striped Beware, Spooky, and Boo. So those are our 2.5. You can get these from Craft Outlet. I know Craft Outlet has this, but I purchased this from Crinkle Designs. Not sure that they have that any longer. In addition, we are going to take this Chanel edged, I think it's called like fuzzy ribbon, purple and black with the lime green, which you can get from Craft Outlet. This is also from Craft Outlet. It is a spider argyle pattern with the same purple, orange, green, and black colors. Then we are doing all of the same 4, purple, black, orange, and lime green striped. Again, Craft Outlet. And finally, this is what I call the Halloween icons. It has all kinds of cute little things, which goes with virtually every theme that you have. So pumpkins, skeletons, spiders, candy corn, bones, bats, you name it. The words creepy, Halloween, boo, spooky, all the things. So these are our ingredients. This is going to be where we do the creating. So if you guys have any questions, make sure you are putting those in the comments so that I can answer them for you. The first thing that I do when I'm laying out my bows is I always put them in some sort of a semblance of order, so that I know really quickly what's next. So I will always insist on doing something pretty, a lot of character, tying the theme in to the end ribbon. So this is going to be on the very, very top. And then on the bottom, you pick whether you want to start off with your orange or you want to come in with your purple. I think that this is the order I want. And then I was looking at breaking up. Let's see. I might want to do it this way. So I'm kind of breaking up Halloween print, like defined Halloween, defined Halloween, defined Halloween, with things that could be like Halloween, but aren't necessarily. Like you can use these for others. So this would be my layout. This would be the first ingredient we're starting with, and this will be the last ingredient we start. So I'm going to take these and push these all forward so that we're focusing on the first one. And the first step in a recipe says we're taking our 2.5-inch. We are going to do a 10-inch tail with 5.5-inch loops. So we've already figured out how do you measure, how do you cut all of your things. So even if you don't have a cutting mat, as long as you have a ruler and your Bowdabra, you could put this together. The cutting mat just makes it easier because it protects my work surface, and it also creates ability for me to measure what I need to. So we will always start all of our ribbons with a dovetail edge. So that is taking these, bringing them together, wired ends together. You're going to cut from the fold side to the wired end. So wherever your wires end, that is where you're starting. And depending upon how deep you want to go with your V, if you want a really shallow one, then go shallow. If you want to go midway, then bring it up a little higher. Your beginning is always going to be on that folded edge. Destination will always be the same. I like mine to look pretty predominant. So I'm just going to make it a little bit deeper. And then, like I said, we're starting off with a 10-inch tail. So that's the first thing we're going to do. We're starting with the right side fabric facing up. We're going to gather at the 10-inch mark. And this Bowdabra is a tension loaded spring. So when I slide my ribbon in, it's going to hold everything. I'm going to twist at the 10 inches. And then that goes from right side fabric to wrong side fabric. We want 5.5-inch loops. So I always build my bows from the left side. It's just something I've developed just on my own. It's just easier for me. I think it's, my husband told me he's like, without you realizing it, you're keeping your bow, your ribbon roll from twisting. I'm like, okay, that works. So we are taking this center line that we have automatically in our bow maker, and we're lining that up on, I always find if you can line it up on a 10, a 20, or 30-inch line, it's really easy for you to measure then what 5.5 inches are if using the center section lined up on your 10-inch line. When you pull this out, we want this to end at 5.5 inches, which mine is. I'm going to go just a touch longer so that I'm not really pulling on it to get it to 5.5. And then I'm going to switch it. I'm going to guess, but I'm twisting, sliding that in. So remember, if this is coming up short, I can always make my adjustments. I'm bringing it into my 10-inch. And then again, this right now is only at 5. So I can pull back a little bit more, lining it up, making sure that now we're at 5.5 inches. And for that final, we are twisting this back in a right direction format, coming all the way out the full 10 inches. And then we're going to dovetail the end. Take your time when you're building your bow. That's the nice thing about having a bow maker is even if you weren't using a bow maker, you can still make this the exact same way. You would just, at this point, once you've measured your 10-inch tails and your two 5.5-inch loops, you're going to binder clip it, chip clip it, close pin it, and set it aside. That is your bottom ribbon, okay? Here, we're just going to keep stacking one on top of the other. Okay, moving on to our second 2.5-inch ribbon. We're going to go 9.5 inches for the tail length and 5 inches for the loop length. So this is our spooky Eek and Boo ribbon. So this has a vertical pattern. The only way to keep your vertical pattern going would be to create one loop with a tail, and then you have to stop it, create another loop and a tail. What that does, however, is if the customer is attempting to fluff, and remember how like you're pulling on your loops without having something here, you could technically pull the entire thing apart if they pulled too high. So with this, you're, like I said, you can just leave it, which is what I have a tendency of doing for verticals. I generally don't, I'm not that picky in having some of my words upside down and some of them not. So we're going to measure 9.5 inches. I'm going to gather. Thanks, Joan. You're the first person who noticed. Or other people may have noticed, but nobody said anything. Yes, I have a new backdrop. It is my Halloween backdrop. So, and we're going with 5 inches. So we automatically know that this is going to be shorter than our existing loop. So we can kind of gauge that before we measure it. But measure it just the same, so you're guaranteed 5 inches here, which I have. And we're going to do the 5 inches here. And like I said, knowing that I need to come down just a little bit. This is how it seems like, well, she knows exactly how much it is. No, you can just kind of, you'll know a little bit based on what your ribbon before was. So each time we're adding a new ribbon, we're going to come up on the tail length a 1/2 inch. The loops, however, are a little bit different. Can you change it? Absolutely. There is no cut and dry formula for making a bow. Whatever works for you to create a bow, go with that. This is just my most popular bow. I make this on virtually every single wreath that I do. Okay, now we're going to pull in with our 1.5 inches. And we're going to start with our dovetail end again. Cutting that down. And we're right here, step number 3, third ribbon, 1.5 inches, 9-inch tails, 4.5 inch loops. Okay, we're following our recipe. 9-inch tail, gather, twist, place it right inside your Bowdabra. We're going for 4.5 inch loops. So same way, I'm going to guess, drop it in, and look, I'm coming up a little bit shorter, which probably tells me I'm pretty darn close. Line it up, pull it out, and just double check, just to be on the safe side. Do the same. Oop, that one's going to come up a little bit short. I think it'll still be short. So there's that. Yeah, a little bit short. Okay, right now we're at 5.5. And again, we're going to bring this out to 9 inches. It's great when you have striped ribbon because it's super easy to cut them evenly across. Okay, we're halfway through our bow. Believe it or not. Okay, we are taking ribbon number 4 on our recipe, 1.5 inches, 8.5 inch tail, and we're also doing a 4.5 inch loop. Can you keep going a 1/2 inch down? Absolutely. It's going to be a little bit different, but we're following the recipe, so this is what we're doing. We're going to dovetail the end. We are going 8.5 inches. Gather in. We're twisting, setting that right inside. And because, here's a little short trick. Because we've already measured the bottom and we know that the next one down is 4.5 inches, if you put your fingers in the bottom one and in the top, just pull until you get that same resistance. And then that's a way that you can kind of cheat. Just guesstimate, put them in, pull, but then I still have to line it up on my 10-inch line so that I can make sure that I cut this at 8.5 inches. Okay, 4th ribbon in. We're moving along really quick. Okay, there's that. And we are going with ribbon number 5, 1.5 inches, 8-inch tail, 4-inch loops. Okay, so we're going to go dovetail end. We are doing 8-inch tail, gather, twist, There we go. It's going to be a very colorful bow. And we're going for 4 inches, so we're going to bring that down just a bit. So I still want to bring it in because I have nothing to measure it on except my cutting mat ruler. So I'm at 4 inches. Let's try this one. Right there. A little bit shy. And back out to 8 inches. Right here. I'm just holding this above. It's so nice when you stand above your cutting mat. You can eyeball perfectly where your 8 inches is without having to lay it flat. And then our final ribbon is ribbon number 6, 7.5 inch tail, 3.5 inch loop. Okay, so we are dovetailing the end, and this pattern goes either or direction, so it's not a vertical or a horizontal. It goes either or. So we're going 7.5, gather, twist, place that right inside. We're going to measure off 3.5 inches. We're going to confirm that we're at 3.5, which we are. I'm going to do it on the other side. Again, lining it up, confirming the length, back out, 7.5, right here. Alrighty, there we go. And we are in. I always use straight pins just to secure my ribbon. At this stage, you can use a zip tie. You can use floral wire. You can use a pipe cleaner. I prefer pipe cleaners because the older that I get, I need something with some substance in it. I'm going to use black, and I'm going to bend it into a U because it just gives me a little bit more thickness to hold on to. Plus, I can also use this to tie it onto my wreath. So I'm going to pick up the whole thing, noting that I'm putting my hand under the stack, thumbs on top. You compress all the layers like you're picking up that triple decker club sandwich. Keep holding them in place. Just transfer so that you have a free hand. Drop that down the middle. That's why we prepared it in the U. You're going to hold this at the bottom with a slight twist. And then we're holding our pipe cleaner straight, but we're twisting our ribbon bundle. Okay? At this point, our Bowdabra is done. You can put that away. And we need to get my fluff board ready because I don't have a wreath that we're doing this on. So like when I started my wreath making journey, I would always fluff on the wreath because I didn't realize that there was a thing called a fluff board or fluff box. So this is a fluff board. It is a 24 by 24 by 1 inch thick piece of pre-cut lumber that I have added vinyl textured flooring strips too. So it's just 4 of those strips, and I have a nice prop for my bows once I finish my bows. I've added a 2.5 inch C-hook or a cup hook. You can get those in the hardware aisle. You can also get your pre-cut lumber in the hardware aisle. I will link my vinyl strips in the description box when it goes to replay, so you guys can order those. You can get them in light and dark tones. The first thing I'm going to do is take my C-hook, and my goal is to hook that pipe cleaner. So I'm going to bring it right next to my C-hook. I'm going to slide that on. I'm going to zoom in so you guys can see micro small. I have skewed my pipe cleaner. And all this does is it'll still move left and right, but I can't move it off of the board. So it gives me some stability. Now this bow recipe will yield you two different types of looks. The first and the easiest bow to make with this is what would be considered a downward facing bow. So a bow that would go at the bottom of a wreath, either in the center, off to the lower left or the lower right. So the easiest way to do that, because we're going to do both, I'm going to show you how to fluff it two different ways. You're going to bring all your tails down. Easiest bow. Bring all your tails down. Just drag them down. Leave all your loops at the top. Get them all on both sides. Once you have them down, you're going to ignore them. Okay? Now at the top, it's up to you. I like to give visual interest that draws your eye in, and the things that draw your eyes in are things that aren't even, things that aren't symmetrical, things that are odd. So that's why when I do my bows, I'll take the top two and I'll lift these. And then on the opposite side, I will do opposite direction so that it draws your eye in. Oops, opposite would be here, Kat. So one up, one down. So they're doing like a crisscross pattern here. And then we're going to do the same with the next set. We're going to bring one up. So I'm going to do the spiders up and the stripes down. Okay, from here, spiders are going in the middle and we're bringing our stripes up. Okay, still not doing anything with the tails. They're just kind of moving around as I'm fluffing my bows. So now we have all our 1.5 inches. Okay, at the very bottom now, you're going to make an executive decision. One comes up, one stays down, but you definitely want to fluff them, put all of your fingers in them. Here we're going to do the opposite because it's a nice visually looking bow. Okay, so there's that. Make any adjustments you want to at this particular point. So I've got all of my ribbon loops fluffed. The easiest part is now down here. Remember curling ribbon and scissors? These are your scissors. So you just draw your ribbon, if it's wired, between your fingers. Put some tension on that. Start from the center and pull it out. And you'll notice that it's putting a nice little arc in all your ribbon tails, which makes it look super pretty. Okay, we're doing it all the way down, even to the bottom one, although you're not going to see it as much because it's laying flat on the board. And then if you're doing photos, you want to make sure you see all the colors, you see all the pretties. Okay, so that if I flip this around now, it's a very colorful bow. You've got all of your ribbons and loops ready. This would fit. I'm going to grab a Halloween sign. Or okay, let's grab this one. I'll use this one anyway. It's always good to have practice with your signs. So this is just a 12-inch round from Craft Outlets. Nice little happy Halloween. You can slide that right underneath there and look how gorgeous that looks. Keep in mind that you're looking at it flat. You would technically lift this up slightly and then you would just move your loops around so that you can see all the wording like this. Looks gorgeous. You can leave it at the bottom down here. Okay. You can bring it over to the other side and just move how you want your ribbon to fall. But this is what would be considered a downward facing bow. Okay, super simple. Now, let's make one, because this one, honestly, when you look at it, it sinks so far in that we're losing most of the wording. So we can afford to lose some of the bats at the top. So let's make one that goes on the top. And you might say, well, can't you just put that here? Let me show you what this looks like. Let me pull this back. This is what this would look like if we just left it. So if you don't want to refluff it, you could do that. You could kind of go like so. You could also kind of go like so and just tilt your ribbon. Again, sometimes it just depends on what are you fighting with to get a bow on here. Obviously mine is, I don't want to lose the wording. I don't want to lose the character aspect of this. So let me show you how we can fluff this a totally different way. Okay. You're welcome, Carol. She said, hi, Kat. I bought a Bowdabra. Now I have a recipe to try it. Absolutely. Okay, so I'm going to take the sign away. We're going to put this bow, all of our ribbons, back in place the way we had them. So remember, they just stack one on top of the other. Okay, so let's do tail and loop, tail and loop, tail, loop, tail, loop, tail, loop, tail, and loop. We've got this side all stacked. Let's move this one over. Loop, tail, loop, tail, loop, tail, loop, tail, loop, tail, loop, and tail. Just like this. That's how we started, right? Okay. Now we're going to make one that would go in the top or the upper, what is it? Upper left or upper right hand corner. I usually put most of my bows in the upper left hand side. So what you're going to do is you're going to start from the bottom when doing this bow. This is the top half of your stack. This is the bottom half of your stack. Okay. Whatever you do here, you're going to do opposite here. So starting with our orange ribbon, we're going to take the tail and move it to the right, loop to the left. Okay. We're just splitting those two. Move your stack back down. Go find this ribbon on the other side and go opposite. So here, I'm going to go tail to the left and my loop to the right, so that if I pick these up, you can see my bows or the loops are opposite, and so were the tails, which is perfect. Now the next one, you're going to go opposite. We're going to pull the tail to the left and the loop to the right. Now we're splitting loops along with colors along with our tails. So again, we're moving our tail to the right and our loop to the left. If I hold these all up, that's exactly what we've got. It's basically the base for your bow. You're going to keep repeating that process all the way down. So here, we're going to follow the polka dot. So we're going to go here and here. Flip it over. We're taking our loop. And I'm going to pull my tail over here. And then now we're going to follow the purple pattern. So here's my tail. There's my loop. Here's my loop. Here's my tail. Okay. Over here now, we're following the polka dot pattern. So we're going tail to the right, loop to the left. Find it over here and do opposites. Just like so. And then the last one, we're going to be following the spiders. So we're going here. And yes, right? 1, 2, 3. No. Let me look at that again. These got shifted. We can't have two on the same side. That goes there, this goes there. Okay, now we go here and here. Okay, now bringing this back over, follow the spiders. Okay, just like this. So now we have separated our tails from our loops. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to ignore the tails. We're going to focus on the loops, and they're already split for you. So you don't have to figure out what goes where. You just lift them. They're already lined up for you. Okay, just like this. All set. Then we're going to do the next two. You can decide whether you want this on the outside or the inside. It's entirely up to you. I'm going to do spiders in the middle. So same thing here. Opening this. Because remember, our ribbon was totally flat. And we're going to pull this one off to the side. Just like that. Starting to look familiar. And then we're going to do the same thing with the bottom. Just put your hands in them and give them a lot of love. Give them some life. Lift them. Okay, there's that one. And this one. And now from here, same thing. Now you're going to focus on the tails. So you're going to do same thing. So the tails are split this side. So I'm going to focus on one side. And then we'll do the other. Okay, here. Here. It doesn't matter which one you grab. Whichever one you get to. Just like this. And if you like, you can cut your tails if your tails are too long. If you would rather your tails to line up exactly with your loops, you can definitely do that. That is a, a change in the recipe. You're just going to do it a little bit differently. So now this one is geared to go for our sign. So if I go up here now, you can see how much more of the sign is available. So if we do a top, we're going to have the loops kind of cascade out and down the sides. And then it's also going to be in the center, just like that. You can bring this off to one side and do the same thing. You can pivot and have your sides come down to border your sign. And these ones would go across the top then, so that you get a little bit of everything. Okay, just like that, all the way in. And then if we want to go opposite side, move the sign over, do the same thing. We're going to pivot this. We'll have our tails come down the side, and then the ones here are going to go up and across the top, just like that. So that now in this manner, you can see the bats, and you can see all the words, and you have a nice little border for your bow. And this is where, when you see people who do double and triple bows, you could take one and make the downward bow and put that down here in the corner. You can make an upper bow and a lower bow. You can make one in the center and two to the bottom. That is exactly how you would make your bow on the Bowdabra. So what questions do you guys have that I can answer? For me, so Tanya, all the ribbons are from Craft Outlet. All of them. I think one of them that I got was from Crinkle, which is this one, and I think you can get it at Craft Outlet, because Crinkle is slowly, they're liquidating their inventory, so whatever they have, I don't think that they might not necessarily have this available in stock. So try Craft Outlet. Your husband loves Halloween decorations. Here's the great thing. You've mastered bow making. You can take 2 of these and put these on either side of your fireplace mantle. You can put either one of these on the side of your bathroom mirror, on kitchen window. You can just make bows to make bows and sell them. There's lots of people who would just rather buy a bow rather than attempt to figure out how to make them. But the great thing is the more you practice, the more permanent it becomes. You like automatically know what step comes next. Make sure I dovetail, make sure things are going this way. And you can also vary how you want your loops. If you want to keep them all like here, technically they're the same, here, 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 and here. You can add super cute, fun little embellishments. You could add little fun Halloween charms like a little pumpkin. You can take those and glue those in the center if you'd like, just like that, and just give yourself some pretties. You could take styrofoam balls and you can add those as a cute little center. Just sometimes whatever you're working on, like if I'm using these styrofoam glitter balls in my design, I might toss one in the center so that it creates a cohesive look to what I was doing around the outside is now populated back into the center of the bow. So what I was doing with all the ribbons throughout is now all accumulated here in the top bow. Valerie, from what I know, yes, they're not going to continue, I've been told. So a lot of people are simply going in a different direction. Like personally yours or PLY Wreaths and Signs are going away from selling ribbon and mesh, and now she's just going to focus on signs. So a lot of people are making pivots to their business right now. So here is one extra thing. Once you mastered bows, you can make bows. You can go to the craft fairs for every holiday, take all of your holiday ribbon and charge people. You know, on average, the cost for the bow making materials, depending upon the cost of the ribbon, you're using, at the most, you're using 4 feet for one ribbon, and then it goes like 4 feet, 3.5 feet, 3 feet, you know, 2.5 feet. And so you're calculating your costs, and then also you're calculating your time. So about Crinkle, I think they're going out. That's what they've told me, is that they're tapping out because of the uncertainty in knowing will you be able to get product. That's what a lot of people are doing, is they're tapping out of the supply side of things. Because of the instability of knowing where future materials might come from. Now, they can always change their mind and come back too. That's entirely up to them. So, what other questions do you guys have? So, yes, Kringle Designs is doing, I think, 60% off all their supplies, but shipping is not free. So you have to pay your shipping costs if you want to order products from them. But yes, they are. But I can't wait because we're going to be using this in an upcoming project. So thank you guys for joining me. This will go to replay. I will provide you with the affiliate links for the textured vinyl siding, which just looks like this. Believe it or not. I don't know if you can get these at like Lowe's or Home Depot, but I ordered them from Amazon. So they come in like, I think they're 6 inches. Yeah, 6 inches by, let's go, 6 inches by 3 feet. So 6 by 3. And then you just, they're peel and stick. So you line them up on your board. You go ahead and secure it. Cut the ends off, and really super simple. You have a really pretty fluff board. I just need like space and weight. So a really thick piece of lumber creates the perfect board for me to fluff all my ribbons on, and then it also serves as a great prop in the event that I am selling my bows. I have the perfect prop, so I just crop my picture to this and we're good to go. Super simple, right? Oh, you're so welcome, Valerie. She said such a beautiful bow. So if you guys are interested in Kringle, let me type in their address if you guys want to go view them. kringledesigns.us, so that you can purchase or go look and see what they currently have available. All right, guys, thanks for joining me, and I'll talk to you